break the ice and make new friends. If you happen to be reading this in a classroom today, you'll likely be sitting among strangers. But even if your classmates aren't totally new to you, you still probably don't know much about them. And what about those of you who aren't at school? Well, the advice I'm going to give you will still be useful. That's because I'm going to tell you about breaking the ice, a difficult skill for even the most talkative people. Breaking the ice is all about making good first impressions with people you barely know, without feeling awkward. Some people get so worried about this that they say nothing at all. So, how can you successfully break the ice? One of the easiest ways is to ask a question. This method is great because there are many things you can ask questions about. Try asking your neighbor which junior high school they attended. Or maybe you could ask if they did anything interesting on their summer vacation.
Hi everyone, welcome to English4U. I'm Pat.
I'm Chickling.
And today's article is all about breaking the ice.
It's not winter yet.
Not that kind of ice. We mean getting to know new people. Let's learn more in the first part of our article. It begins by saying, if you happen to be reading this in a classroom today, you'll likely be sitting among strangers. Of course, it's the start of a new semester, new classes, new schools. So yeah, if you happen to be reading this right now, it might be in a classroom. We use this phrase happen to, followed by a verb, to say if this is the case, if this is occurring right now. And we often use it to refer to something that's just happening by chance rather than being planned.
So happen to 就是有恰好或者是碰巧的意思。所以比如说你有没有碰巧知道这个人住在哪里呀？你就可以说 Do you happen to know where he lives now? 那这个字呢可以变 happen to someone， 代表发生什么事在某人身上。比如说 He was furious about what had happened to his cat.
So you might be in a classroom with a few new people, and the article continues, but even if your classmates aren't totally new to you, you still probably don't know much about them.
So even if 就是即使，所以通常我们遇到新的人啊，我们虽然对来说不是新认识的人，可是我们也可能没有办法完全了解这个人嘛。Even if 就是即使怎么样，所以比如说 Even if you take a cab, you'll still be late. 就算你搭计程车，你还是会迟到的。
So you might be in a classroom reading this, but the article doesn't say that it's only useful for those people. It asks, and what about those of you who aren't at school?
What about 就是那么关于的意思，所以关于不在学校的那些人呢？
The article says, well, the advice I'm going to give you will still be useful. So this article's all about some advice for people in these situations. Let's now look at the word advice. So advice is helpful suggestions that you give to people. You should do this. Why not do this? I think you could try this. And you often give this advice if you've got experience, if you've been in similar situations, or maybe you just have a very good idea, you've read about it, you think you know what somebody else should do to make their situation better. You might say, for example, my dad often gives me good advice, so I often talk to him about my problems.
Advice 是非可数名词，所以比如说一件建议，我们就不能直接说an advice 不会这样，我们要说 a piece of advice 或者是 some advice 也可以。So the verb form is advise. So 它就是有给人家建议的意思嘛。我们可以讲 advise someone to do something. 比如说 obese patients are advised to change their diet. 这边是被动语态的用法。
So why is this advice useful for everyone? The article says, that's because I'm going to tell you about breaking the ice, a difficult skill for even the most talkative people. So this phrase, breaking the ice, this is all what today's about. This is saying or doing something in a social situation to make everyone feel more relaxed, to make things easier. And you often do it when there's lots of new people around, you don't really know these people, and it's at the start of the situation.
所以 break the ice 就是打破冷场的意思，那就是我们刚刚一开始讲不破，我们中文可以直接说破冰。
The ability to break the ice is a very useful skill. A skill is an ability. It's something that you can do well. You can learn skills. You don't have to be born with them. Sometimes you are, but sometimes you just pick it up by studying, by practicing, and go on, and so on. You might say, for example, I'm hoping to learn a new skill during my summer vacation. I want to learn how to surf. Now, we also talked about the word talkative. This is an important skill even for talkative people to learn. If somebody is talkative, then they like to talk. It describes a person who is very good at talking to others, finds it easy to talk to others, always has something new to say. They're not the kind of people who would kind of be awkward and silent around others. No, they can always find different topics to talk about. They're good at listening and kind of passing the conversation ball back and forth. You might say, for example, Billy is a talkative guy, so he's always fun to spend time with at parties.
所以打破冷场对于很会讲话来说，其实有时候也是一门学问哦。那么我们通常 talkative 的人也会伴随 lively 这个特质，它就是活泼的意思。比如说 Martha's daughter is very lively and full of fun.
Would you say you're a talkative person?
I think I am a talkative person if this is a person that I'm very close to. But if it's a stranger, I usually seem quieter.
Okay, so I think I would say I used to be more talkative, but maybe too much. So now I shut my mouth more often. But
Are you?
Yeah, with friends.
Okay.
With friends, I'm more talkative. But yeah, even then, I talk less than I used to. Let's get back to the article. It says, breaking the ice is all about making good first impressions with people you barely know without feeling awkward. So if something is all about something, we're saying breaking the ice is all about doing this thing. This phrase is used to show the essence of something, the key to something, the main or most important factor in this thing. So you could say, okay, with math, it's all about numbers, right? Okay, but here it's all about getting used to people and breaking the ice and making a good first impression.
所以 be all about something 就是完全就是，那它就是指最基本或者是最重要的事情哦。
Okay, now let's look at this phrase, make an impression.
Impression 就是一个印象，所以我们通常打好第一印象，英文就会说 making good first impressions， 因为 first impression 就是第一印象的意思。那么呢，我们的动词就是 impress， 给谁留下深刻的印象。那当然形容词也有，就是 impressive， 那就是给人留下深刻印象的。Let's take a look at 3 sentences down here. His particular way of smiling left a good impression on me. 或者是呢，用动词的话 ，They try to impress me with their deep knowledge of wine。那最后一个，我们用形容词来造一个句子 ：My sister has an impressive record of achievement.
So this is all about making a good impression. Now, if it's people you know pretty well, if it's your friends and family, you've already made your first impression a long time ago. You don't need to break the ice. But here, you're trying to make a good impression with people you barely know. The word barely is an adverb, and it means only just, almost not, and it can also mean not well. So people you barely know, new classmates, new co-workers, people you met on the street, maybe you know their name, maybe you've seen them a little before, you might have said hello a few times, but you don't know them properly, you're not friends for many years. You might say, for example, I barely remember the first house I lived in as a child. It's too long ago. I have 1 or 2 memories, but that's it. Whereas the other house that I lived in as a kid, yeah, I could walk around that blindfold and not hit any walls.
Barely 就是几乎没有，所以打破僵局呢，就是我们今天的主题 breaking the ice 这件事情，就是要让与你 根本不认识的人或几乎不认识的人留下一个很好的印象，而且不会感到尴尬。
Right, and now doing that with somebody you don't know, starting conversations, trying to get to know them, all the while trying to make a good impression, that's not easy. Some people find it, yeah, I can do it, it's fine. Other people will think, oh, I'm going to feel so awkward. This is so difficult. That's what awkward means. It's this feeling that you, or it could be another person, or it could even describe a situation, but it's a little bit embarrassed, it's a little bit uneasy. You might feel this situation is inconvenient. Like imagine you're sitting next to somebody on an airplane, you don't know that person, but you're going to be flying together for 10 hours. It's a little awkward. Do you say hello? Do you find out anything about them? Do you just ignore them except when you want to get up and go to the bathroom? Like, what do you do next to that complete stranger? That is an awkward situation. You could also say you feel awkward, like you don't exactly know what to do, how to react. You feel like you're going to say or do something that'll make you look like an idiot. Here's another example. Chris always feels awkward when he talks to Emma because he has a crush on her.
OK， 在 Pat 老师提到的字词 embarrassed 也是尴尬的意思。那动词的话，我们 ed 拿掉，所以 embarrass 那令人尴尬的就是 embarrassing， 感到尴尬的我们改成 ed 结尾 embarrassed。那么名词就是 embarrassment。比如说 He's not used to making speeches in public. He thinks it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it's not always easy. It's very easy to feel awkward and embarrassed when you're standing up in front of a lot of strangers, or even people you know. So this situation, this breaking the ice with people you barely know, the article says some people get so worried about this, about being in these situations, that they say nothing at all. Oh. They just shut their mouths, sit there quietly, hope that everything ends up okay, and hope that it ends as soon as possible. Now, this sentence contains today's language in focus, so let's take a quick look at it.
Language and focus 今天要讲的是 so 怎么样 that 怎么样它英中文就是如此怎么样呢以至于发生什么事我们看一下我们刚刚课文说到 Some people get so worried about this that they say nothing at all 因为有些人对因为要留下好的印象会感到很尴尬所以他们就什么都没有说了那我们照另外一个这个句子你们大家去感受一下Ferris runs so fast that no one can catch up with him 所以代表说 Ferris 跑非常快以至于大家是跟不上他的那么注意大家不要跟另外一个很像的连接词 so that 搞混 so that 今天当连在一起的时候它后面接的子句我们是在表达一个目的原因或者是理由那我们照另外一个句子 A number of houses were torn down so that the grocery store could be built所以这个 so that 代表以便的意思有一些房屋都被拆除了因为呢以便要建造一些超市这边的 torn down 就是被动语态这边指的是拆除
So we've covered what breaking the ice is, when and where you might need to do it, and why it's difficult. So now let's get to the important of those WH question words, how. The article asks, so how can you successfully break the ice?
Successfully 这边是成功地所以它是副词我们来形容break the ice 这个 break 的动词所以我们要怎么成功破冰呢
The article explains or suggests one of the easiest ways is to ask a question. Right? Oh. Yeah, makes sense. Now, that's one way. You could ask a question about where you are and what you're doing. You could ask about just casual stuff. You don't want to get too personal with these questions. So ask about something maybe you can both see or say something, oh, that's a lovely shirt. Where did you get that shirt? You can kind of turn it into a nice thing. The article says this method is great because there are many things you can ask questions about. So we're talking about one method of breaking the ice, asking questions. The word method is a noun and it means a way of doing something. It's kind of like the word technique or way. It's the things you do to achieve a result. You might say, here's a good method for making fried rice that always tastes light and soft.
所以不只有一个方法，我们这边用了 one of the easiest ways， 大家有没有看到 one of， 所以代表说我有很多很简单的方式，但是这是其中一个的感觉。
We got an example here in the article. It says, try asking your neighbour, so that's the person sitting next to you, which junior high school they attended. Of course, you're in senior high school now, so hey, which school do you go to? Like that.
那大家看到 attend 这一个字，它是参加，通常是指不一定是自己很自愿想要参加的东西，我们就可以用 attend。所以比如说你参加一个会议，也是可以用这个 I have a meeting to attend this afternoon.
Here's another example. It says, or maybe you could ask if they did anything interesting on their summer vacation, which of course you've just finished. It's September. So hey, do you have a good summer? Do you go anywhere? Do you do anything cool? Or that kind of thing.
Right, 所以我们也可以问问对方，哎，那你们今年暑假有什么做好玩的事情啊 ？So summer vacation， 它就是寒假，sorry 是夏天放的那个假，暑假。然后寒假呢，冬天放的我们叫 winter vacation. But I think in the UK you guys say holidays, right?
Yeah, we use holiday more often than vacation. So now let's talk about some of these ideas more in our For You Chat question, which is, do you think it's easy or difficult to make new friends? Talk about your answer.
Well, I used to think it was really difficult for me when I was younger. Because, you know, I had been bullied even when I was younger. So, like, when I saw new people, I'm afraid. I was always afraid what they would think about me. So I just stayed quiet. But right now, I love myself and I found who I am. So I think it's easier for me now to be able to talk to different people.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd say for me it's the opposite. It's actually harder now.
Really?
Yeah, like before when I was younger and had lots more time for hobbies and interests and getting to know people, there were lots of things to talk about. Now I don't have time for any of those things, so it's harder for me to chat with new friends, meet new people, because I haven't got so much to talk about as I used to. The things I talk about, oh yeah, like 5 years ago I did this. What do you do now? Nothing. Parenting.
No, you parenting. There's a lot to talk about parenting.
If I'm making friends with another parent, that would be different.
Yeah,
so it depends on who I'm talking to. It's probably going to be easier because we've got something in common. And that's all the time we've got for today. But join us again tomorrow for more tips and advice about breaking the ice. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Advice. My parents gave me some advice about managing my money, and I think I should take it seriously. Skill. Sarah's language skills are impressive. She can easily switch between different languages. Talkative. My neighbor is a talkative person who loves to share stories about his travels. Barely. The poor man barely has enough money to have 3 meals a day. Awkward. Lily thought it was awkward when she called her teacher Mom by mistake. Method. The farmer developed a new method to make his apple trees grow faster.
智慧小补帖。
Impression.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net